And I have been teaching from this book for more than a year. We got to the end last week, and now on the sheet where we write what we're going to teach about, there's a lot of blank spaces. So in the blank space for this week, I typed suffering. And I did that because I was suffering. Or actually, I thought I was. I went to get coffee with a friend who has been passing out at work. Just sort of as a surprise at work, he'll just fall down. We know it's something about his heart, but we don't know why it's happening. And so he's been struggling to get an appointment. He'll go to the ER, but he's struggling to get an appointment, but he didn't have a primary care person. And he found a primary care person, but the appointment was like 3 months away. And when he did get that appointment, he needed some tests, so he scheduled the tests. But then when he went to get the tests, they were canceled because the insurance had said they weren't necessary. And we're having coffee. And all this time, his heart is stopping. And I say to him, that is so awful. Because it is. And we both sit there waiting for someone to say, well, it's time to get going. Or something. And then this week I wake up and I'm listening to the news on my phone while I'm getting ready. And there is this ruling about conversion therapy not being able to be banned by states. And like my jaw hurts. And I can feel my bottom teeth hitting my top teeth from the tension. And like at the same time, I'm looking for my shoes. And I'm thinking about adults I know who went through that. And I'm thinking about kids I know. And my stomach is just like twisty and dull. And while I'm thinking about it or kind of feeling about it, other stories are coming on the news that are equally distressing. And it's time to turn off the news and open my computer and do my work. And I'm at work. And someone is looking for a psychiatrist. They are having a mental health crisis. And all of our psychiatrists are booked for the next 3 months. And so are all of the psychiatrists that we refer people to. And this conversation is happening by email, rapidly, but by email. And I email the person and I tell them they can go to the emergency room. And they tell me that the last time they did that, they were involuntarily hospitalized and abused by a nurse. And I have no other thing to say. And so lamely, I suggest that they call 988, even though I know that the average wait time for 988 is 45 minutes. And my guess is that you have pockets full of stories like this too, right now. Which is why I thought I was suffering. And there was like a time in my life where I would have been so disgusted by a person who responded to those things the way that I was responding to them. Like I would have asked my friend if I could call their insurance company and yell at the insurance company for them. Or I would have like called my congressperson and made a rant about conversion therapy. And then I would have organized something or joined something. And I would have called the person in crisis and tried to talk them through their mental health crisis themselves. And I would have really crappy things to say about anyone who didn't do that. Ugh, I'm almost too ashamed to say, but these days I don't. Which is why I thought I was suffering, and I put suffering in the little line about what I was going to teach about this week. But I was also sitting and watching it. And I realized that what I'm actually experiencing is sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor is one of the 5 hindrances to mental awareness. So I guess it makes sense that I didn't catch it. That was me trying to be kind of a Buddhist joke. So sloth is physical sluggishness. It's the feeling in the body that you don't want to get off the couch or out of the bed. It's like a muddy aversion to movement. And torpor is mental sluggishness. This is kind of like numbness where your awareness is cloudy and like curiosity and alertness just are not available. Sharon Salzberg, one of our important teachers, said that sloth and torpor are inert, but not relaxed, which I think is a really great description, right? I'm not moving and I don't feel like moving and my thinking is not clear, but I'm not relaxed. And she says, sloth and torpor are different from true rest because they're not regenerative. Although you may be still, not doing anything, you don't feel rested or restored afterwards. And that is definitely how I've been feeling these days. And I can't quite get at the parts of myself that might at other times want to move out of it. It doesn't even feel hopeless. It just feels weirdly blank. And it would be easy to confuse this experience with depression, and maybe depression is part of it. But when I pay attention to it, or I sit and help other people who I know pay attention to the similar feeling, it doesn't seem like a serotonin issue. It seems like a natural response to what's happening around us. So here it is, sloth and torpor. What do we do with sloth and torpor? The Buddha's answer will probably not surprise you. Notice it. Practice mindfulness of sloth and torpor. And that's hard because sloth and torpor cloud mindfulness, but it can be done. What is this sloth like? What is this torpor like? What's here? This combination of agitated and still. And part of what's here is that it's weird. It makes me think of times that I've stayed up all night in the hospital with somebody who's seriously sick. And there are moments of true terror, but there are also these weird moments where you're kind of blandly fine. And that fineness is disturbing because you know you should be freaking out. And weirdly, what's actually happening is this kind of dazed shrug, like terror underwater or wrapped in gauze. That kind of weirdness is here. And certainly judgment is here, partially because I'm sitting in front of you all who I care about, and I care about your experiences, and I feel like I'm being a total bummer. And also because on some level under all of this, I know that I believe that when there's suffering and injustice in the world, I should be moving to help. And also I can't move. Good old judgment. It likes to come in acting like a solution. Judgment pretends to be action, saying you're doing something, you're criticizing. But it's really just part of the torpor, the despair loop. So when Salzberg writes about sloth and torpor, she's careful to point out that they are not enemies. And she encourages us to honor them. And to the degree that it is possible, see what they're up to. What are sloth and torpor telling me? Is there some wisdom here? Like maybe my old instinct to jump on my judgment orders and act, no matter how useful the action is or isn't, was unskillful. Is it possible that I need to stay down until movement is wise? Will my heart leap up when an action that might bear fruit presents itself? If sloth and torpor are distorting my perception, how can I see more clearly? By watching them. I went to a really shitty retreat once, and it really messed me up. It was right after the pandemic, and it was in another tradition, which I will not name. And the teacher sat up on the plinth and said, "Your mind is very powerful. When you feel hopeless, you just need to adjust what you're looking at. Don't look at the despair and the suffering and the terror. Look at the positive things all around you." I get so murdery when people say this kind of shit. But it was a silent retreat. The speaker told us a story. During the pandemic, sure, he could have looked at all the people who are getting sick and dying and the failure of our institutions, but instead, he put his daughter in her stroller and went for a walk, and what did they see? A butterfly. The story was supposed to be advice. Okay, I know that there is work for me here in developing mudita for this teacher, but that work is in progress. One of the many things that is so infuriating to me about this teaching is that it is adjacent to something that is really profound and actually skillful. If sloth is here, and torpor is here, they have something to teach us. And part of what we know about sloth and torpor is that they distort perception. That when we're experiencing them, we need to be intentional about trying to see more clearly. And this kind of, "but a butterfly" response is not clear seeing. Clear seeing doesn't obscure one thing and focus on another. And letting sloth and torpor narrow my vision so that I'm obscuring everything but the despair is not clear seeing either. It's not despair but a rainbow. Despair but a rainbow is delusion. Clear seeing is despair and a cute pigeon. Despair and all these cherry blossoms. Despair and a tofu hoagie. Despair and sitting here with all of you. A skillful attention to sloth and torpor honors and respects that they are here and what they're doing, and opens the aperture to make sure that things that are also here are not being obscured. Skillful attention to sloth and torpor allows attention also to things that might be regenerative. So that if sloth and torpor are preventing me from unwisely expending my energy, when it is time to move, I will have some. So gentle, so subtle. The Dharma always says this too. No matter what it is, it's our job to attend to it. And if we see it clearly, right action will naturally arise. If we dodge it, if we obscure it, if we dismiss sloth and torpor as something to be overcome or willed away, we will miss what's here, and we're more likely to move unskillfully. If sloth is here, and you sink into the couch, sit on the couch and witness sloth. And if your body rebels and demands distraction, you can witness distraction. And if you lose it and you're not paying attention anymore, you know from your practice here that eventually you will become mindful of it again. And then you can witness mindfulness of distraction. This too, this too, this too. Let's practice a little bit.